welcome back to Friends Are Weird, your place for weird news and even weirder friends. I'm Joey.
And I'm Stone.
Let's do the damn thing, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to talk to you today about how RFK likes to just eat roadkill. Um, I'm sure you probably heard about it, but our listeners at home have definitely not, because this has been kind of a buried story that no one's even talking about. Uh, so RFK still hasn't dropped out of this election cycle, but has been allegedly been begging the Harris and Trump teams separately for a spot on one of their cabinets, just because he knows he's not going to win. Uh, but yeah, so he recorded himself talking to Roseanne Barr about how he just dumped a dead baby bear in the middle of Central Park with a bicycle on top of it. Just thought it was funny. Went out for a day hawking with his friends, like most people do. Just went out to the woods hawking, and he allegedly said that he saw a baby bear get run over by a woman, and instead of just leaving it and ignoring it, he decided to play with the thing, like with this dead baby bear on the side of the road. Like took pictures of it, like pretending like it was biting his hand. His hand's all covered in blood, but it was baby bear blood, and stuck it in his car as one does. The whole time, it was funny too. Like in that video he shared of this, Roseanne Barr is just looking at him like he's an insane person. Like she can't believe what is coming out of his mouth. And yeah, so he decided to stow it in his car so he could cut it up and eat it later when he got back to his apartment,
As you do.
forgetting that he already had dinner plans, and just had it in his car for like 7 hours. And he assured Roseanne too. He's like, no, it's totally legal in the state of New York. Like, as if that's what she was worried about. Like, oh, well, were you at least following the laws of collecting roadkill? But no, it was perfectly legal according to him. And he forgot about his dinner plans. Went to dinner instead of his apartment to chop up this baby bear, and I guess put it in his freezer. I hope put it in his freezer. Uh, he went to dinner, and yeah, he had to take a plane after that, and decided to just dump it in the park because he didn't have time to butcher it up. So
So I've got a lot of questions about this story. I've heard a little
yeah,
bit
me
about
too.
it. I've got a lot of questions. First question for you specifically, because maybe you'll know. You said he was out hawking. Is that anything to do with Hawk to a girl? Is that the same?
No, no,
Oh,
he had actual like birds of prey
oh.
uh, that he sent to go catch things. I guess to bring him
As
back rats. I don't know.
as,
But
as,
yeah,
as soon as I said it out, because I was very confused. You were like, "Oh yeah, he's hawking," and as soon as I said it out loud, I figured probably had something to do with birds. But
yeah.
you
It might
never
have
know
been
with that guy.
falconing. It might have been
Oh,
falconing, but
oh, that okay. I've
I
heard of
know
that
I know
before.
that people do both, but
I
yeah, he was falconing Tua out in the mountains and came across a baby bear that he definitely didn't hit himself. Put it in his weird car, it, like someone wrote a piece about like riding in RFK's car, like completely separate from this story, but like it's also resurfaced just because he has dead baby bears and bicycles in his car, so everyone's kind of like wondering what is his car. And apparently like he drives this van around with like a wooden bench in the back because apparently dogs ate his back seat. So he has a wooden bench in there instead of nothing. It's covered in dog hair and it smells like shit and rotting meat. Like he's just a weird fucking guy. Uh, yeah, he also said that he also had told Roseanne that he thinks maybe that's where he got the brainworms from. But also in his story, he didn't eat the bear.
Yeah, yeah,
Like they said when they found the bear at the scene of the, I guess, crime. I'm sure it's illegal to just do that. But when they found the bear, they said he was like covered in lacerations and shit all over his body. And I just
RFK or the
imagine
bear?
him, the bear, the bear. No
Oh,
one had any idea that it was RFK until he publicly just stated this to the world for some fucking reason.
mhm.
But I imagine him like on the drive home, just like reaching into this bear carcass like a bag of popcorn and just like munching on it because I mean he claims that he didn't eat it, but he also claims that that's where the brainworms come from. Who even knows with that guy anymore? But I've got to say, I do believe him now that he wasn't eating a dog in that other picture where everyone was like, RFK eats dogs. Like, if he says he didn't do it, he probably didn't
Yeah,
because,
because he would be pretty open about
like,
it.
you know that he would admit to it. I mean, in the same week he was being accused of eating dogs, he was also like some sexual assault allegations came out against him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was totally me, but I did not eat that dog." Uh, and he specifically said about the sexual assault allegations that, well, I never said I was a church boy. Eh, also, like he left a bicycle with the
Terrible.
bear, like as a prank to what make someone think that a cyclist hit it. Like, who actually thought that a bicyclist just hit a bear and ran away, leaving their bike behind?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. And while he's telling the story, he's like, "Yeah, and everyone I was with that night, they they were all pretty drunk, but not me. I wasn't even drunk, but they were all really drunk except for me, and they all thought that it was a really hilarious idea." Roseanne Barr is just like laughing uncomfortably. Keep in mind why she was canceled. I mean, she's a
Oh,
psychopath
yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
Like, she was canceled for like tweeting about how black people are literally monkeys. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it's just obvious. Like, it just is that much more obvious that he only exists as like a spoiler candidate to support Donald Trump because, like, obviously no one's going to vote for him. He has zero chance of winning. But like th- the moment that people start calling out the Republicans for what they are, just a bunch of fucking weirdos, like, oh well, time to call up RFK and have him tell one of his weird stories to take the pressure off. Like, it this is seriously the weirdest goddamn election year that I've ever seen. And I haven't seen that many election years, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I,
This is
I
a,
think that this is probably the weirdest one that's ever existed.
and I definitely have the feeling that it's just going to continue to get weirder and weirder as we go. So speaking of weird things, and this will kind of segue into my story, but there was the incredibly bizarre conversation between Donald Trump and Elon Musk that took place on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and
Yeah.
their server, it was like super glitchy. The man sounded like he didn't have his teeth in for the entire conversation because he was like lisping and stuff. But then kind of out of nowhere, Elon is like, oh, the reason we were having so many technical problems is we just suffered a major like DDoS attack. We just suffered a major hack. And then not too long after, came out the information about the hack on the Social Security, the national public database, essentially that aggregates all of the data to help provide like background checks, confirmed it suffered a massive data brief, and basically everybody in the United States has had their Social Security number exposed. That's wild.
From what I gather about that, I hear that that's a really bad thing. Like way worse than
Whoa.
every other time. Like literally all of your sensitive data gets leaked or is hacked. Like by
Sure.
Disney Plus or Uber Eats or the gas station you visited 3 years ago. Like happens like every other week. But I
Oh
mean that
yeah.
is pretty crazy.
Well,
I assume that like with deep fake technology being a thing and with all of your information out there anyway, like you could kind of just get away with crimes now. Like, oh,
oh yeah.
you could completely just pull the Shaggy defense, like that wasn't me. Like
was it
you can't
was it me?
prove that that was actually me. Like you could max out your credit cards and just
Yeah.
completely default on loans and like, oh, I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah. So yeah,
I mean, I
somebody's.
assume that's how that works, right?
Well, I mean, like it's crazy because your social security number is like the one thing that is primarily used to identify you for any sort of like sensitive transaction. Not only was it socials, it was full names, addresses, the social security numbers, and relatives dating back at least 3 decades. So like I think about like when I bought my house or like you get an auto loan or whatever, part of the like security questions are like which of the following addresses have you been associated with? And it's like four random addresses that you've never lived at, and then your address, and then like which of the following is a maiden name of your great grandmother? And like now people actually have all of that information and your social security number. That's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, the State Department itself stole my social security card and my birth certificate. So, I mean, I
What?
have no way of. Well, I say I have no way. Like, it was all, like, part of applying for my passport, and they're supposed to mail that shit back.
Yeah.
They never did. Never
Have
got
you
my.
received
That
your
was like a year
passport?
ago. Yeah, I have my passport, so I'm gonna probably have to use that and my ID to like prove that I really am myself. Like those are my only two forms of ID at this point. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this State Department just completely fucking stole it. So I mean,
They usually mail it back in the same like envelope that you get your passport in.
they didn't.
Huh.
They literally just sent me my fucking passport. Like they sent me the card and they sent me the book like a month or so later. And not my fucking socials. I mean, it's not like I'm applying for jobs or anything, but like it is kind of fucked that the government itself is going to steal it. As for like social security, I'm like really not confident even a little bit that social security as a concept is going to exist by the time we're old enough to collect it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's
definitely
either
not.
going to be repealed and dismantled completely by the next Republican president or the next Democrat, hopefully after Kamala, in the name of reaching across the aisle anyway, because that's just what that fucking party does all the time. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like identity, I don't know. It is crazy because everyone's always said like that is the most important number tied to you.
Yeah.
But like I mean everyone are like hackers have already long since had like our blood types, our mother's maiden names on file and the names of our first pets for like years and years and years now. Like if you're trying to avoid having literally every aspect like your greatest fears just being known by your enemies, I mean there is a solution and that's just fuck off to the middle of nowhere off the grid
Oh
and don't
yeah, go off the
participate in
grid.
society at all.
Yeah.
But it is crazy though that like they finally got the big one, and like
We're
we're
just
all
gonna like
fucked
whatever.
anyways. I mean, like identity theft is. I mean, they say that it's rampant. I've never had my identity stolen, but I mean, with it happening to so many people as it allegedly does, and the fact that they dropped the ball so hard on like the most important number tied to you, um, I say just start taking out loans and like don't ever intend on paying them back. Like the people, the adults in the room who are handling all of this shit and supposed to keep it safe, don't really care about that clearly, but at least they're banning TikTok so that the Chinese can't fucking get all
Yeah.
our information, as opposed to like every American criminal that can.
Well, there you have it, folks. You may not be safe from identity theft, but you will damn sure be safe from TikTok dances and viral trends. Stone, that's all I have for this rather short episode. You got anything for me?
I do not, but for our listeners at home, we will be having another episode later on this week. Trying out a slightly new format with this whole little endeavor. So
Yeah.
tune in whenever it pops up. We haven't really decided on when that's going to happen, but be
It's,
on the lookout for us.
and to make it easier for you, turn on those notifications, click like, subscribe, leave a comment, even if you hate it. Tell us why you hate it, and tell us what we can do better. Otherwise, I
Tell
love you bunches.
and tell us what you hate about us specifically as people. Like we could take it.
I can't. I'm
Anyway,
very emotionally fragile.
yeah, I'm not as tough as I was just pretending to be. That was a bluff. Please don't tell us what you hate about us specifically.
Yeah,
But
please,
we do
please
love
be
you.
nice.
Thank you for watching. Mwah. Catch
Mwah.
you later.
Kisses.